Okay, so out there in the Cineverse, the word on this movie is basically that it is the best in the trilogy, or at least that is the main consensus that I am seeing from a lot of reviews about this movie, is that it's the best in the trilogy. I'm just here to say this right now before we get into anything else about this movie. That is not a good thing. And I am also here to say that is true. That is a very true statement. This is the best in the trilogy. However, that is, again, not a good thing whatsoever. The other two movies previously following this movie stink. They're horrible. And I am so glad that this trilogy is finally over, so I do not have to sit here and watch people pretend. You guys are pretending. Please stop it. You can kill the act now. It's over. People are pretending these movies are good. And that's how we got this trilogy in the first place. I'm just glad it's over. But look, regardless, guys, this is Venom, the last frickin' dance. Let's do it. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for Venom: The Last Dance, starring Tom Hardy, Juno Temple, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Rhys Ifans, I believe that's how you say his name, and Kelly Marcel. It was directed by Kelly Marcel, and our story basically follows Eddie and Venom on the run from not only the authorities, but Null and his symbiote pet things, creatures, whatever you want to call them. Basically, they are on the run, and this is the last time we are going to be able to see Eddie and Venom together, because I'm not going to get too deep into the actual stakes of what the plot involves, but basically the plot has this thing where basically either Eddie or Venom have to live by the end of this movie. That is basically what the race is or what is surrounding this entire plot. I'm sorry. That's the best way I can describe this plot, because it's truly just thrown together. Please do not blame me. Literally what they do, they take this thing called a codex, and they literally make it up. I'm telling you, they pull this thing out of nowhere. What they do is they call this thing a codex, and they say that basically what happens is Eddie died in the first movie, and because Venom brought him back to life, basically there's now this codex inside of him that can unlock a key to release Null. They completely just threw that all together just so that they could have Null be the quote-unquote big bad, and they just really made it the gist of this film just so that they can really tease Null in your face and never really give him to you. Like, it was just, I'll talk about that in a second, but that's the basis of the plot. And I'm so sorry if that's a bad way to describe the plot, and I'm sorry if that's giving away some stuff that you didn't know about the plot, but let's be real, guys. These Venom movies literally throw these plots together just to have a bunch of nonsense go on, and that is what my biggest issue is with the previous two movies. So before I just go on a big rant about what I don't like about these Venom movies and what I didn't necessarily like about this one, I will talk about what I liked about the Venom movie, and I'll start with this. This is the first Venom movie I ever came out of feeling like I was actually entertained for more than 10 to 15 minutes. I was very proud of that. For at least 25 to 30 minutes of this film, I can say I was thoroughly either entertained, enjoyed, or just I was content with what I was watching for the first time in my life actually watching a Venom movie, because the previous two films only give me 10 to 15 minutes of actual watchable entertainment. And the first movie, that's mainly due to Michelle Williams and her in the Venom suit. But the second one, it's just bits and pieces, not really anything. But I did actually enjoy myself with the Eddie and Venom relationship with this time. This is the very first time I ever really enjoyed their relationship, and that's because this one really reminisces on what the previous two movies built from their relationship, and they really just reflect on that throughout a good portion of the movie itself. And I was actually emotionally attached to that. For the first time, I actually cared about this Eddie and Venom dynamic, and I truly did not care for it in the previous two films. And so, let me stay on track with what I liked about the movie. Okay, what I also liked about the movie, other than Eddie and Brock's dynamic, what I also liked about the movie, I'll say this. There's this hippie family, and I know, just stay with me here. There's a hippie family in this movie, and it's played by Rhys Ifans, who plays Otto Hightower in House of Dragons, and the mom is played by Alana Urbach, who is in with the Ted Peacock TV series. She plays the mom. There's a van sequence where they're just singing, and you're just on a side quest, I guess, for a little road trip. it's one of the best parts of the movie, if not my favorite part of the movie. Honestly, like the hippie family was a great touch. I enjoyed that. I was thoroughly entertained with that. Don't know why. Like, it really has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. They're really just a hippie family who's interested in Area 51, which also Area 51 is being shut down in this movie. That's okay. There's just, like I said, there's a lot we need to get to what I didn't like about this movie, but the hippie family was pretty good. And for the first time, again, it's the third movie, and for the first time, this movie is achieving a lot of things it has not done in the previous two movies, in my opinion. For the first time, the CGI actually looked good. The first movie, the final fight between Venom and whoever, I can't think of the actor's name, whoever the villain's name character was, that fight was just a bunch of CGI blobs mashing against each other. The second movie, Venom and Carnage, it looked a little bit better, but honestly, it was really just more of the same of him and Woody Harrelson just throwing their CGI symbiote blobs at each other. It was just a mess. This movie, however, in the final act, there actually is decent action to be had. And even in the beginning, when it's in the trailer, when those Mexican thugs come up on Venom and, Eddie's trying to warn them and they're doing the, no, Venom. Like, he's trying to do that thing. Yeah, it looks good. The CGI actually looks good for once in this movie's lifetime. But other than that, guys, this movie follows the exact same formula that the other Venom films did. And if you have not guessed, I'm done with the things that I liked about the movie. So just to recap, Eddie and Venom's dynamic, I actually did not mind, but I'm also going to address that and what I didn't like about the movie. I like the hippie family. I love the hippie family. And the CGI was not that bad. Oh, Juno Temple and Chiwetel Ejiofor, their performances are not bad. There's just nothing memorable. I would say they do, but they have some fun. There's fun to be had with their characters. They didn't do a bad job at all. But now on to what I did not like about the film. And like I said, this movie follows the exact same formula as the other Venom films do, which is just heavily bank on Eddie and Venom's dynamic, which is completely a mixture of just stupidity, nonsensical jokes, and just back and forth banter that really gets tired after a while, and it puts together a plot that really just doesn't make much sense. It just needs something to keep the movie going on and keep a reason for Venom to fight somebody, or especially fight Carnage and things like that. But it's really just thrown together, and it's just, there's a big portion of the movie, like I said, for me, the first two Venom films literally have 10 to 15 minutes of enjoyable, watchable content. And enjoyable may even be a stretch. It's watchable content. The remaining hour and however many minutes there are in those first two Venom films I absolutely despise, because they're so boring. Nothing goes on. The villains are just being villains to be villains, especially in the first movie. The guy's just being like his. I remember it specifically why I did not like the first Venom movie, because the villain's plot, he was literally, it's just like being evil to be evil. He had literally no real motive. He was just doing stuff because he could. It made no sense why he really wanted to use the symbiotes for what he wanted to use it for. He just needed it because the plot required somebody to be evil. Didn't work. What I didn't like about Carnage was necessarily the romance story they were trying to do between Woody Harrelson and Naomi Harris. And they were forcing that back and forth, that plot armor of why Carnage really couldn't be his full evil Carnage self, because that love story was holding him back. I didn't care about any of that stuff. And like I said, in this movie here, it does much more of the same. Like I said, this whole codex thing, they completely just throw that together, and the rules surrounding it really doesn't make any sense. It's just really giving a reason for this movie to end and the relationship between Eddie and Venom to come to an end. They just throw the plot together. It really just doesn't make any sense. You don't care about what's really going on. And honestly, to quote John Campea, again, who's very big fan. Hopefully he sees this one day. But basically, to quote him, he said that by the time you get to the third act, you really don't care about what's going on. And that's really pretty much that's true. That's literally the whole purpose. That's what I see in the other two Venom films. Once you get to the third act, you really don't care about what's going on. This third act, however, in my opinion, is a lot more entertaining than the previous third acts. However, like I said, you really don't care about much that's going on, other than, for me, the only thing I felt like I really got emotionally attached to was the relationship between Eddie and Venom coming to an end. Other than that, it's like the actual plot about letting Null out and, you know, the symbiotes going crazy and, you know, getting let loose, and then they do this whole symbiote Avenger thing at the end of the movie. It's really kind of like, all right, like you're really trying to have a lot of fun. Like, it looks good. It looks good, and there's some cool action sequences going on in there, but it's just like, you really don't care, because what the movie is truly built up is, like I said, they're basically just dangling Null right in front of your face. Like, this really irked me about the movie. I really hate their usage of Null. They basically, and I'm so sorry if this is kind of like a spoiler, so minor spoilers warning here. They basically use Null as a marketing campaign to get you in a seat, because he's mentioned plenty in this movie. He's shown maybe like 3 or 4 times. And it really, really, really just does not work, like, at all. For me, at least. It's just like, if you were going to do that, just go that route, you really could have just, like, not shown him in the trailer at all. Like, honestly, my entire gripe with their usage of Null in the...
How the fuck would you show me something if I couldn't have it?
It's, like, really, like, why would you show me something if I couldn't have it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But, again, these movies have not made sense, period. These movies have, from the very jump, done whatever they want to do. Again, and another thing that when I say this movie follows the same formula, the comedic jokes have never landed for me whatsoever. That's why I say another thing about these movies that just don't work. Eddie and Venom's dynamic, it's very old after a while. Like, when I was watching Venom Let There Be Carnage in the beginning of the film, I was actually entertained with Eddie and Venom's dynamic for the first, like, 10, 15 minutes. It was making me laugh. And then after a while, it's just like watching your little brothers fight. And it just gets so annoying. And it's just like, yo, like, I want to go do anything else right now. I'm so tired of you two bickering. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's not funny. It's not enjoyable. I'm done with this. This movie, however, does most of the same. It is quite more enjoyable for at least a lot more of the time than it is in the previous 2 movies. But for me, once again, Eddie and Venom dynamic does get old. I'll say this time, it gets old at times, because when it comes to the emotional aspects of the relationship building towards the end, coming to the end, it's actually something worthwhile. But look, guys, overall, let's just be happy these movies are over. Let's just be real here. Who cares? Who cares how this movie is? Like, they're not good. They've never been good. Let's just stop. Craven is probably our last hurrah, or our last chance at, or I guess Sony's last chance at them actually making something of these films. But let's truly just be done with this. Let's get Craven out of the way, and it sucks. It really does, because unfortunately the Craven trailer actually looks good, so I'm thinking there is some hope there. But Venom is over, thank God. Regardless, guys, if you like these movies, I'm so sorry. I mean, enjoy them. Enjoy them. I'm so sorry, because I'm trash. I'm not a fan of these movies whatsoever. But if you are a fan, awesome. You got a trilogy. You did it. You did what not many other fans of many franchises could do, and that's get people to make a trilogy out of the movies they love. So congratulations to you. But for all those reasons and so many more, guys, I'm going to give Venom The Last Dance. I keep wanting to say Let There Be Carnage. Venom The Last Dance, thank God, a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, guys, so Venom The Last Dance. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.